Hello, Mingalama. Hi and welcome to my video. So today I'm going to be talking about how I'm learning Burmese and sort of give my opinion about a few Burmese resources. So I've been learning Burmese for a bit over a year now, I guess, sort of on and off by myself. So I haven't attended any classes or anything. Okay, so I started with Burmese by Ear by John O'Kell. It's an audio course available online on the SOAS website, like School of Oriental and African Studies. I'll provide a link below in the description box. So I like this course because it's sort of standalone and you can, like, I would listen to lessons when I was in the tram or walking like in the nearby forest or something. I really like that I don't have to lug a book around all the time. And I would really recommend this course for people who are going to Myanmar reasonably soon, because it's got a lot of travel phrases like ordering food, telling the taxi where you want to go, asking prices, things like this. So really useful phrases. So then I've written a few notes on my computer down here, so I'm looking. After that I used Colloquial Burmese by Sansan Nintul. So yeah, and I really like this course. I found the transcription, like, so they have all the little conversations in, wait, I'll show you. Firstly, in Burmese script, here, down below, they have these dialogues, and then they have a transcription in like a sort of international phonetic alphabet transcription, and then they have the translation in English. And for me personally, I really like this because I wanted to learn the Burmese script, which I would definitely recommend to learners. It's not as hard as it seems. It's not really easy, but it's totally doable. It doesn't take too long. So I really like that, you know, you have the whole dialogue first in Burmese, and then you can like check with the transcription, oh, what's the sound again, and then check with the translation. Whereas there are other books, like for example, Burmese for Beginners by Jean Mesher, which I had a little bit of a look at and really disliked, mainly because in all the dialogues, so I find the dialogues like the conversation part's the most useful part of a course book, but they had like 3 lines for every sentence, 3 lines, one after another. Firstly, in the romanization, and I don't really like the romanization. Firstly, romanization, then the Burmese script, and then the English translation. So for people like me who really want to learn the script, it's really hard to practice because you are presented with the romanization first. And so a few times I tried to use that book and I just I had to put like pieces of paper in front of the romanization because my eye just kept going straight to it, because obviously my eye is, much more used to reading the Latin script. So so Burmese for Beginners I found not worth the effort for me. So I much preferred this book. And all the audio is available online, so you can just go on there's a website for the colloquial series, and then you can download audio for this book and for any of their other books. So it's really handy. One thing I did find a bit annoying was that they teach the script really gradually. Like, you learn all the consonants at the start, but then they teach you just a few vowels per chapter. But I just skipped ahead and then learned all of it, so I didn't have to go back later. But yeah, this is not really a problem. So So that's the main book that I used. I also really want to use the John O'Kell book, Introduction to the Literary Language. I haven't started using it yet, but we have it in our library here, so I'm in the library at the moment. So I'm gonna start using that soon. I haven't used any of the books like Introduction to the Spoken Language, but they look reasonably good. It's just that I was lent this, so I used that first. Okay, what do I want to talk about next? Okay, so the next really important book for me learning Burmese is this grammar book. So I really like to read about grammar. I enjoy reading this book. Just like looking at the example sentences, you know, writing down new words from the example sentences, and I enjoy, yeah, learning about new structures from this, or also checking things if I hear something and I think, wait, what? How does this work? And then I can go check in this. So this is from this is also Routledge from their Comprehensive Grammars series. I would just open to a random page. So you have many examples. And so they're first written in the Burmese script, which I like, because I really try to not rely on romanizations. And then it's written in sort of an IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet script, like essentially, like it's not 100%, but it's sort of almost like this. And then we have one line for a gloss underneath, like so like a direct translation, which I think is really helpful to learners, because sometimes you read a sentence and then you see the translation and you think, okay, what do all these parts actually mean? But in this book, you can really see what all the parts mean, and I really like that. So yeah, this book has been really useful. I'm not saying that just because I know one of the authors, but yeah, I really like this book. It's a really good reference. Reference if I need to look up some kind of grammar point. So another book that I've used is the Dictionary of Grammatical Forms by John O'Kell and Anna Allott. I don't have that book here with me, unfortunately, but you can find it online. That's, yeah, just a dictionary of different particles, so you can just look them up, and there's an example of how they're used. So I find that really useful for me. And then there's two main dictionaries that I've used whilst learning Burmese. One of them is pretty commonly available. I think I've seen this if there's any Burmese materials in a bookshop, it's usually, they usually have this dictionary. So by Nance Cunningham and Aung Sung Min. So I find this dictionary is enough for me most of the time. I've never actually used the part which is like phonetic, like romanization to English, so I could like cut that out and then it's like a bit smaller. But yeah, I really like this dictionary, and it's not too expensive as well. I just ordered mine on Amazon. And the second dictionary I use is this one. So this is unidirectional, so it's only Burmese into English. But if ever I'm reading a book, or if I can't understand something from someone's Facebook post, then yeah, I use this. It's good practice for me looking up words with the like Burmese, the order of the letters, because it's different obviously from English because it's a completely different script. But yeah, this dictionary is quite detailed, and yeah, I really enjoy using it. I also use some like dictionaries on my phone, like one of them I use, like Onagai, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but that one's okay, although sometimes it has problems when you just want to look up a short word and then it gives you all these like compound forms of it. It's really frustrating, and so apart from that, it's reasonably good. And I also use the, is it Sealang Burmese Dictionary? Oh, sorry. I'll put a link down in the description box to the Sealang website. So this dictionary has really a lot of entries in it, and so I really like it, but the only problem is that when you're looking up a word like from English into Burmese, oh sorry, getting a notification. If you look up a word from English into Burmese, then the entries aren't sorted by like frequency or by like basic meaning, or like more basic meaning first or something. So I'm not exactly sure how they're sorted, but yeah, sometimes this can be really difficult, and then you know you have so many entries and you're just looking up the word for I don't know, I can't think of an example, I don't know, tree or something, and then you find all these types of trees like first or something like this. So just use with caution, but it's a really good resource. So once I sort of grasped the basics of Burmese, I then started just trying to practice online. So I found some language partners, like you can just use Google Language Exchange, Language Tandem, just Google, and so I found a few Burmese speakers this way, and then arranged like to speak on Skype, or sometimes just like chatted online, or I use some like chat apps. Sometimes this was successful, sometimes not, particularly in the start. This is really frustrating because the because the other person, you know, spoke a lot more Burmese than I spoke English, and then we mostly ended up speaking English. So that was really difficult. Sorry, oh, so good. Enjoying tea from the Shan State Pao tea. But now that my Burmese is a bit better, I can like speak more with people online, so that's really good. So yeah, definitely looking for language partners is good, but you need to make sure that it's not just one-sided, because their English will probably be better than your Burmese when you start. So just be mindful of that. I also used a teacher on italki. There's only one Burmese teacher at the moment, but I had a few lessons with her, and that was good. Yeah, I really liked talk. I found it most useful like just talking to friends like on Skype, friends who were instructed to not just speak English with me after I didn't understand one thing, but you know, when they really persisted in Burmese, that was really good. So what else did I do? Oh, so I also got books in Burmese. So I photocopied like some short stories from one of my teachers, and then I also got some books like these. This was a gift from a friend. So it's like a comic. So it's nice that it's in English and Burmese, so I can sort of try to read and like guess. If there's only a few words that I don't know, then I can sort of guess. Yeah, so I can kind of get the gist of it. So yeah, these are quite fun, and they're like cheap, and you can find many things like this in Myanmar. I also bought some books like these, stories for children. And this is also bilingual, so they have like the story first in English, the story first in Burmese, and then they have it in English. So I guess this book is actually aimed at learners of English, but you can just use it in the opposite direction, no problem. Sometimes the translation's like not quite right, but yeah, this is really useful as well. What else? And then more recently, like on my most recent trip to Myanmar, I got quite a few books. Like I got some things like this, like poetry. I was actually just attracted to it because it's a Noble Myanmar Literary Festival, literature for children. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll just try it. So just like poems, poems for like children, and then just other books like these that aren't written like in a really complicated way, that's not written in literary Burmese, because I only know some literary Burmese forms so far. So I like books like these that just like have reasonably like just like short text, so I don't, you know, have to read the whole novel at once or something. What else do I got? So also for learning vocabulary, I used Anki quite a lot. So Anki, if you don't know, it's like an app for your phone for memorizing vocabulary. I will put a link below. So firstly, I started using an Anki deck that was created by a friend of mine. I will also provide a link to his deck in case anyone wants to use it. It's like, first it's written with the Burmese script and also with IPA, which is so handy at the start because you can't 100% predict the pronunciation from the Burmese script. So having the IPA there is really handy, and the vocabulary in that deck starts with the vocabulary from Burmese by ear. So that was quite good because I also started with Burmese by ear. So then as I kind of neglected that a little bit recently, but then I started to like build my own deck with words that I just learned like from books or from kind of random places, like because I do research on a minority language, well, on a few minority languages in Myanmar. So like I have books like these, which is in Pa'o, it's like a dictionary word list for Pa'o Burmese, and I want to learn the Pa'o things, but then it's like Pa'o Burmese, not Pa'o English. So then I think, okay, I want to learn all these words in Pa'o, and then I have to learn them in Burmese at the same time. So sometimes I would then go and like put words from this into my Anki deck, so I would learn them at the same time. And recently, I sort of learn from strange places. And recently, a friend of mine gave me this book. It's actually for learning English, but it's got so much Burmese in it. Like, see? There's so much vocabulary, and then a lot of sentences, a lot of repetition. So aimed at learning English, but then I use it to learn Burmese. So then when I find new words in this book, then I also put them into my Anki deck. And I also use this book just for like kind of drills, like just practicing sentences. That's really good. Another thing I used for just reading practice, so practicing learning the Burmese script, and sorry, my throat's like really bad today. For practicing reading the Burmese script and for learning a few extra words were these texts available. I'll put the link below from like a Learning Burmese website from, I think, Northern Illinois University, and they have like small texts like this. I think these are under intermediate, and they're just like little like information like there's about like the Union of Myanmar and Dinjan, about like the water festival, and they like text written reasonably simply. And actually some people that I know here in Switzerland, they are also learning Burmese, so we meet up like once a week, and then we use like some of these texts to practice together. So that was quite good. So I'll put the link to that website. The website also has like exercises for learning the script and like basic conversation things. It's a bit old and a bit tricky to navigate sometimes, but there are some good things on there, so check it out. So what else did I do? So that's pretty much what I use to learn Burmese. So just to summarize all that, so firstly I used Burmese by ear, the audio course Burmese by ear, and at the same time I tried to learn the script at the start, and then I did colloquial Burmese. And so before I really started the lessons, I made sure that I learnt the script. So then when I read like all the conversations, all the dialogues, that I could like already try to like read them in Burmese at the same time. If you're reasonably serious with Burmese, like essentially if you have more interest than just going there and learning to order food, then I would really recommend you learn the Burmese script. It's not that hard. I mean, you can just sort of sit there for a day and just practice a bit and just learn like exactly how the script works and like how the vowels work. The vowels are a bit tricky, consonants not so tricky. And then yeah, just practice. It takes a little while to practice because some of the symbols really look similar. Like you have to learn, you know, where's like the open part of this like circle and things. So it takes a little bit of practice, but it's really not that hard to learn. I mean, you shouldn't like spend more than a few days on it, I guess. So then I was also using Anki at the same time as I was doing Burmese by ear lessons. So I found this really useful. So you can either start with someone else's deck, like for example my friend's deck, if you have a look at it and like it, or you can immediately start creating your own deck and just put in words that are, you know, relevant to you, just words as you learn them, just so you can, you know, when you're catching the bus somewhere, you can like go over them and don't forget those words. So then pretty early on now I found language partners and tried to practice like over Skype. Sometimes I'm pretty shy, so I really liked just being able to like chat with people, like writing. So make sure you get like Burmese script on your phone or something, or you can download the Padaok font. I'll put a link in the bottom, and then you'll be able to at least read Burmese. But unfortunately, we have the problem with Unicode compatibility. The way most people from Myanmar write is not compatible with Unicode, so you may have to use some kind of converter. I use Font Converter. I think it's called Font Converter. You can search for it in the App Store. It's free and it's reasonably good. So now I have Zodji, like the Zodji font that most people in Myanmar use. So I have that on my phone, and then I have Unicode on my computer. But if you can't or don't want Zodji on your phone, then use Font Converter is good. So then I started reading like easy texts like these, and then moving on to like more difficult texts and books. And then I also, along with some other students, created like a Burmese conversation group. So this really helped to have a few people to talk to. But you kind of have to be a bit careful with that, because if you only talk like to other learners of the language, there's, you know, a really big danger that you're going to like kind of start like mimicking their mistakes, or that they will then start mimicking yours, and you all because you're always hearing like the same kind of mistakes or the same kind of accent, that then your Burmese doesn't sound that authentic. Or like your mistakes get kind of fossilized. So this is maybe a problem for me, I don't know, but it's really nice to have contact with other learners. In person is particularly good. So yeah, and then so now I just sometimes Skype with some of my friends, and I chat a bit like online, like Facebook Messenger or something, or Viber or something, chat in Burmese, which is good. So it's like, it's not really study, but you're just refreshing your knowledge a little bit. And then, so at the moment, to really improve my Burmese level, I'm trying to listen to the radio a little bit and read some of these more difficult books that I have. Yeah. Okay, so that's enough from me at the moment. I think this video turned into a much more of a rambling video than I was expecting. I wanted to keep it like really precise. So let me know if you have any questions, if anything was not clear or you want to know my opinion on something. Yeah, so feel free to ask. I will, yeah, put all these links down below, so I hope that will help you out. And yeah, let me know, if are you learning Burmese? What are you finding difficult, easy? What kind of resources have you been using that have worked for you, or what hasn't worked for you? Let me know.